What's going on, YouTube? I know it's been a while since I posted. Life is busy. But the reason for this post is that right there. If you look on the right hand side, my soot's 100% and I'm warming up for DPF Regen. I don't know if it's all GM trucks or what the deal is, so I'm going to put this out there for people to let me know if they know more than me, which is probably likely. That soot says 100% right now. 15 minutes ago, it was at 7%. I had just returned from a Thanksgiving trip where I pulled my toy hauler, round trip, 300 miles, 400 miles or so. So I was, essentially just passive regen. I was cleaning my filter out because my temps were appropriate, my EGTs were appropriate, and I was towing. And this is not the first time this has done this to me. So I left for the trip at about 50% on my filter. Through towing to and from, it slowly went down, like I said, to about 5-6% by the time it was all said and done. Well, I thought the truck was only supposed to regen when that filter hit 100% and it needed to clean itself out. So why would that percentage read less than 10% and then all of a sudden jump to 100% and start warming up for a regen? That does not make any sense to me. It's been about 800 miles since my last regen. I don't know if it goes off of a mileage cycle, if the filter's not getting plugged up enough, but essentially, in my opinion, and again, looking for feedback, that makes the soot level pretty much worthless or irrelevant when it comes to doing a regen. Because if it's a bunch of in-town driving, I'll watch that soot level build up to 100%, start a regen, take it back down. But if I'm traveling with a trailer, essentially doing what the truck was designed to do day in and day out, and that soot percentage is 10% or less, then in theory, I should never be doing an active regen. But again, this is not the first time this truck's done it. I can't obviously get it on camera because I never know when it will do it. But I've had it at 5%, 8%, 10% from long trips and then start an active regen cycle. So again, please, if anybody out there is more knowledgeable than myself, which shouldn't be hard, on how GM has this programming or this tuning configured, I would really like to know about it. Because again, my simple brain tells me that this truck should not regen until that DPF filter is 95 to 100% full and it needs to clear it out. How would it go from 6, 7, 8% to 100 in a split second to start itself doing a regen process? Besides that, guys, everything else on the truck, still consumes a crap ton of DEF. And through the research I've been doing, it sounds like that's just kind of common in the newer Duramax pickups. Even the 3-liter diesels are consuming more DEF than what they did in their first generation 3-liter. Fuel mileage when I'm towing, not great. It's still about 9.5. Fuel mileage empty, 18, 19, and 20 on the highway. So I am completely fine with that, obviously. But man, this whole regen thing's got me just curious. I don't understand. I bought the Edge monitor for many reasons, but one of them was to monitor that soot level. And now it's kind of irrelevant what the soot level is, in my opinion, because when it wants to regen, it jacks it to 100% from whatever it's at and starts a regen. So this entertainment unit has definitely had its issues. The updates are done. Dealerships even reflashed the whole truck. but there's a lot of lag and delays, especially when it comes to the Apple CarPlay. So that's definitely been a frustration. Motor and trans wise, you know, as great as to be expected, I still really do enjoy the Allison trans, or the Allison branded trans. Temperatures on this truck, as you can see, my TFT, transmission fluid, 145. Transmission temps on this truck run cooler than my Cummins. I can't figure out why the dash gauge reads 210 all the time, but in reality it's 185 top right on the coolant temperature. Why in the world such a big difference on what their factory gauge shows over, I guess, the truck's internal gauge? I mean, that Edge wireless scanner, or excuse me, programmer, that's only reading what the truck ECM is saying. So it's why the dash is saying one thing and the gauge is saying the other is interesting, I guess. But again, looking for your guys' feedback on some of this stuff. I've always been a Cummins guy. If you've seen any of the videos on my channel, you know, they're all about my Cummins and thoughts, tips, tricks. I've had a few of those trucks. I'm pretty well versed in those trucks, and I want to try Duramax. So at this point in time, I'm not so sure I'm dead set on the Duramax. I mean, like I said, I love the comfort, the ride. Yeah, you're not going to compete with that. Fuel mileage is basically tit for tat. This thing makes a lot more noises, especially when it's cold or after it's towed. There's a lot more clicking, a lot more sporadic. I mean, you can call it knocking noises, but they're not engine knocks by any means. It produces a lot more funny sounds over the Cummins. The Cummins, for me, all the trucks I've had, they sound the same day in, day out. Towing, running empty, cold, warm. I mean, the Cummins always sounds the same. This, I don't know if you want to call it a second generation L5P. This truck's a 2023, so there was the first generation L5P in the 17, 18, 19, I believe. Don't quote me, but it was something like that. Then we'll call it the second generation L5P, 20 to 23. And now we're in the third generation L5P in the 24s. From what I understand, again, not an expert by any means, but this engine makes a lot of noises. It makes a lot of random different noises at random different times, which is just different to me, coming from a Cummins that always sounded the same no matter what was going on. And the brake pedal, you know, this truck has some pretty squishy brakes. You know, even my wife, who's not a truck enthusiast at all, when she likes driving this truck, but she made a comment by herself that there's not a lot of confidence in the brake pedal. It feels squishy compared to a normal brake pedal. So anyway, guys, this is just thoughts, comments. I'm open to suggestions, but that soot level on this Edge scanner that's telling me, you know, what that filter is supposed to be reading, and then automatically going into a regen, it's curious at best, I guess. So anyway, I'll wrap it up here. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, spending time as a friend and family. So looking forward to the comments, and let me know what I don't know. Have a good day.